Hello, dear Patreons. I think we are live. Let's see. Let me open the chat. Yes, great. So I'm so excited for today's session. Today we will be painting flowers. I'm so happy to paint flowers with you today. So I'm not sure if this happens to you, but in May, June, like my camera roll is so full of flowers, really. Like it's crazy. So I think they are so beautiful, so inspiring to paint that I thought was a good topic for May session. So anyway, we can start. I have here so many things I want to start explaining them as soon as possible. So this live session is not too long, especially for you if you're watching the recording later. But yeah, we will take the time we need. It's just that let's not make this unnecessarily long. So, of course, as always, you can let me know if you have any comments or any questions in the chat. You can also unmute yourself, ask your question. You can also switch on your camera. That's up to you. Just know that the recording will be uploaded later in our Patreon space. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to show you this cute sketchbook. I bought it to one very special friend that makes sketchbooks. She has a shop that it's called Moments Sketchbooks. Uh, she makes them with the paper you want, and yeah, she makes different covers, etc. So I love them. They are so well done. I mean, can you see? But I wanted to show this to you. No, this is not an ad. This is just because I think she makes a great job. This is my flower sketchbook. Okay. So here I will show you quickly. Here I have some practice, practice flowers. But I've been keeping this sketchbook from since 2021. You see, I painted this crocus flower with a friend in 2021, this dahlia in 2022. So here is a sketchbook that I use only for flowers. And I wanted to show it to you because I don't know, maybe this is something you want to do as well. Like having them in a photo is great, but I feel so satisfied when I paint my flowers and then, I don't know, I have them in a special place. They are not like lost in all the photos we have. So some of them are like, I'm more satisfied with some of them than others. For example, here I think I did the flowers too big, but that's fine. This was a very beautiful plant I bought, but it didn't last long, honestly. I have a lot of tulips, as you can see, different tulips, because I live near a tulip farm, let's say. A mimosa, a lilac. Also, I try here different things for flowers. For example, here I have a lilac and here as well, and they have like two different styles. And yeah, I try different styles and different ways of painting them. This one is not finished. This one has some white stems I didn't do yet. And here, this is my last one. These are the last ones I painted, but I didn't paint them in the sketchbook. These are magnolias, some poppies. This one are not finished either. I need to add some stems here and here as well, but they're almost finished. And yeah, this one, I had this plant. It was so difficult to paint. Like, is this kind of flower where you have a cluster of flowers, like a ball of purple flowers? I don't remember the name, but if I find the photo, I will upload it to the Patreon so you have more inspiration. Anyway, there's still a lot of pages to come and to be filled, but I love to have my flower sketchbook, honestly. So if you want to do something with your flower photos, that could be an idea, just saying. And if you do, I would love to see it, or I would love to know if you put it in practice. So yeah, as you have seen in my last flowers I showed you, here I'm using like a round paper. And this round paper, I used it because my best friend gifted it to me. It's this one. And it's from Anemone, and it's like 100% cotton paper. You can open it so you can see it. Anyway, you will see a white page. Yeah. So book. I love that they are round. They are fun as to use. And also when you have a flower, like it's so nice to have this flower to be like the focal point of your round paper. I think it looks nice, right? I don't know, I really like it. Yeah, even if you have some of them. Yeah, I love it. So this one, you can see it's bigger and it's not the same size because I didn't use this paper. I used just a regular paper and then I cut it out a circle shape. If you are painting today, I may use this paper because I already have it ready, or we can use the flower sketchbooks, I don't mind. Just make sure to, you can paint it in a separate sheet of paper. And then if you want, you just use any round object you have around at home, like, I don't know, like the lid of a yogurt, or I don't know, a bottle, the bottom of a bottle, or something like that to cut it out later, maybe if you want. Okay, so something I want to show you first before we start. I have put here a flower, a lotus flower, but there are so many to choose from. Honestly, I put a lot of them in our Patreon session. In the Patreon post, you can see there are a lot of them. I'm also wearing some like flower inspired earrings. Anyway, not important, but relevant for me. Anyway, I mean, I can put different ones. We have so many, here. So we can decide which one to paint. I don't really mind. I love all of them because it's me who photographed them. You know what I mean? So I will be happy to paint any of those flowers. I don't mind. I think this one is very nice. And I think this one, we can paint it. This is, I think it's an anemone. How it's called this? In Spanish, it's called anemona. Yeah, I think it's called anemone. I will put it like when I know, I will tell you in the Patreon post how this is pronounced. I don't know, but it's so beautiful, and I think it's a simple flower to start with. We can also start with poppies. Poppies are also kind of simple flowers to start with. If you want, we can also make two of them. So just let's start. Maybe we can start with this one and then move to the next one. So before we start, I want to show you. These are the papers I used to have my circles. Anyway, I want to show you. I always try to draw some flowers here on a notebook before I start painting them, before I start drawing them. If you don't want to draw, you don't want to do it yourself, like learn how to draw them, that's fine. What you can do is that you can print out the photo. You can have use a light board, or you can, copy it. You can just imagine this is uh, the flower photo you have. You can just put it behind against a window, and then you can trace it, okay? Or you can use a board that lights up so you can trace it here. So don't worry, I will show you how to draw them, at least a few shapes, so you can paint them when you are outside. Because when you're outside, you probably will not trace them. So yeah, these two, I use them for the round paintings you have seen here. And if you like the drawing you have made here, and you think, okay, I will not be able to repeat it here again, then you can trace them because it's you who have drawn them, right? So don't be ashamed for tracing. That's fine. We all start tracing, so don't worry. So what I wanted to show you today, that's why I will use this notebook before. This will be very quick. It's just so I explain a few things about flowers. And I will not be using a round object to make my circles, but that's fine. I will just hand draw them. And what is important to know is there are flowers that have different petals, okay? Okay, I said I will not do this, but yeah. Let's pick up the circle tool. This this is a fancy circle tool my boyfriend gifted to me. It's more a piece of design than a tool itself, I would say. Can I open it? No. Okay. So, okay, I need to make them darker so you can see in the camera, I think. That's fine. The good thing about this tool is that it's quite heavy and then it doesn't move. So that's quite nice. So flowers, they are quite symmetrical when you look at them from upside down, right? So if you look at a flower in this way, you will see they are quite symmetrical. They usually have 5, 4, and 6 petals. There are some of them that have more for sure, but just a quick tip whenever you are painting flowers, it's to learn how to divide your circle into different shapes, okay? I'm here focusing only on these kind of flowers where you have like a circle shape. I know there are more flowers, they are cone shape, or they are clusters of flowers like hydrangeas, etc. So there are so many, but we need to start somewhere. So I am starting here. And then I want to show you like different ways to divide your circle so you can paint different kinds of flowers, okay? So here, for the 4 petal flowers, I will show you. I learned all this from this great book, The Lost Guide to Nature Drawing and Journaling. And then, yeah, you can see here different versions of how we can divide the circle. This is what we are learning today. And yeah, there are also 3 petals. I will show you 3 petals later, but I think 4, 5, and 6 petals are the ones that are most found in nature. So imagine we have here 4 petals. Here it's easy to divide because you just need to put a circle and then you can put your 2 points dots there and your 2 dots here, okay? And then from the center, like you can simply kind of make these lines to know where the center of the petal is, of the flower is, sorry. So for example, I have here some hydrangeas. These are dry hydrangeas, and even if you can't really see it right now here, they have like 4/3 flowers. Here, for example, you can see it. Then you can discuss if they are in a cluster or not, etc. But now, when you do this, the other thing you need to know is, okay, how are my petals? Do they end up like round like this? Are they like broader? You know, depending on what you are painting, you want this thing or another. For example, if I'm painting a hydrangea, maybe what I would do is I would say, I'm checking just the hydrangea that I have here, but I will say like, these have like broad petals. These have like broad petals. So I will use this just as a separation of petals, you know, just to draw them. And this is the center. I'm making like shaky lines because flowers don't have like perfect lines. Okay, this is one way of painting a four petal flower, but then you can also treat this as the end of the petal to make your petal this way, right? So you can treat them as the separation between petals or as the guide to paint your petals in this way. For example, and I think violets or these kinds of flowers are painted this way. We have five maybe instead of four, but okay. Okay, this is the four petal. For the five petal, it's important to notice that we have 1 point here, then two somewhere here towards the top of the flower and two towards the bottom of the flower, okay? And this can be, look as this, you can make this from the center to the points, then you know where the center of your flower is. The center of your flower is very important to know where it is because this is what will tell you how the petals are shaped, okay? That's why we are doing this whole exercise. You need to know where do the petals join, where do they join? They join in the center usually, so that's why we are doing this. And in this way, you can, the same way we did before, either use it to know where your petals are. This time I'm making my petals quite thick. You see? Many petals are like behind these other petals, so that's okay. So this one can be a flower for sure. Maybe now that I see the shape, maybe I could have done this one lower. So they close and they are more symmetrical, but that's fine. It's completely fine. Flowers are not perfect in the sense that they are perfectly symmetrical all the time. Anyway, this one is symmetrical, okay? Even if you see quite some space here, that's fine. So the same will go for the six petal flower. We can put 2 points here and then 2 points at the bottom, 2 points at the top. Sorry, the other way around, but you know what I mean. And then we can join them. In the book, this is explained a bit differently. But for me, this explanation is clearer. So here's more or less our center, okay? You can also imagine we have a flower that is like this. Okay, so now that you see this, I draw here a flower. And this flower, it's not perfect, but I want to show you what happens when you look at the flower from different angles. Why? Because it's very rare that you see your flower is exactly top bottom like this view exactly perpendicular to your vision, but it can happen. In this photo that I put here, you can see the flower is not here like exactly perpendicular to our eye. It's more or less tilted, okay? And this is very important because I want to show you what happens when you tilt a flower. If you have the flower here, like this, okay, you can see that more or less, of course, because I hand drawn this without any measurements or rules or anything, you can see more or less the petals are the same length, they are more or less the same thickness, etc. However, when I tilt the flower this way, what you see is this a circle anymore? Is this a circle anymore or is it an ellipse? So now, as you can see, this is not a circle anymore. I see an ellipse, right? Not a circle. This is a circle. This is an ellipse, right? And you can also see that this petal now is shorter than this petal here. This petal is longer. Also, you can see that these petals are much longer on the sides than the distances of these, right? Why? Because it's not a circle anymore, it's a ellipse, and you have here the center of the ellipse. So this, if I measure from here to here, and from here to here, this distance is shorter than this distance, okay? So that's something you need to take into account when you paint your flower, okay? And the same goes for the flower we have here. Okay, it's not here like this, it's slightly tilted. It's not that tilted, but it's slightly tilted. So we can see the protagonism is now in the petals that are here than in the petals that are here. Okay, so now that we have explained that, I will close it. Is this all you need to know about painting flowers? It's enough. I don't know if it's all, but it's enough. So we can start painting and drawing it. I will first draw it in my sketchbook. I recommend you do the same. If you have a sketchbook or a piece of paper, try to draw it before. Let me open it a bit bigger. I will send it into a chat if you want to download it. Yes. Here you have it, in case you want to open it bigger, okay, in your computer, because I think it makes sense to open it bigger when you are going to draw it. Exactly. Do you still see me? Yes, okay. Okay, so now what I want to do is I will first draw a circle. I always draw a circle first. I'm just moving my flower around just to see it from first person view, let's say. Okay, so it's a circle, but it's not a circle, it's more of an ellipse. What you can do is you do your pencil lines very light at the beginning, okay? Then immediately after, when you are happy with your ellipse, with the shape of your ellipse, you need to set up where is the center. And we can see this flower has a huge center. So we put it, make it bigger. Okay. And now we check petals, okay? So usually it's better to draw your flower from bottom to top and from front to back, okay? So from bottom, from this side to top, from front to back, okay? I will show you in the image, you can see some petals are front and some petals are on the background, right? So let's start with the bottom. Here I see one of the petals that are on top of all of them has this kind of shape. This is a quite a interesting shape for a petal, honestly. This one, you see it, right? It's the one that is on the left side. And I started with that one because it's at the bottom and it's at the front, okay? I will continue with then this one because it's the next one I find at the front, okay? Even if it's not here behind, but okay. Then they all need to be looking to the center, okay? All petals. So here, this one. So the center, that's also a weird shape. It's fine if you go over the circle, by the way. This is just some guides, you know? Here I went a bit under the circle because I think there are some petals that go more outside, okay? And I want to keep more or less the proportions correct. That's why, but just so you know, it's okay. So I will continue then with this one at the top. Why? Because it's on the front, And then I will go for this one because it's also front. This means front means that it's not hidden. Any of its sides is hidden by another petal. And as you can see here, this is also very important. I didn't explain it. You can see the petals, they do this kind of symmetry, this kind of shape, where you go here, then they go something like this kind of triangular diamond shape. You can see that on the flower itself, in most of the petals. For example, the one I'm painting right now has quite this shape. So if I know more or less where I want to go here, and I know the point of the petal should be aligned with the center, then I can make this work. Okay, so those are the front petals from my point of view. Now we have back petals, yes, from the bottom and from the top. So the first one I will do is the one that is between these. I see it's a bit of a, I mean, it's not exact, okay? Doesn't need to be exact, like where the petals are. Okay, this is a huge petal, the one that is here. Now, I want to go here. Okay, now you can see they overlap. The ones that are at the bottom, they all overlap. So I'm just filling the blanks, not the blanks, but filling the white spaces with lines, respecting what I did, like the whole diagram I made before. Okay, here behind there is another petal. I can see it here, like quite dark. Then here there is another one, like very round one, looks like. Okay, and now here we have one that just is showing its tip here. Okay, and now here we have two more. We have one bigger one here, so bigger one here. And then we have, well, here I would like to continue a bit this, I'm not sure. Well, I will see. No, I think that's fine. I think that was fine because you see this one is slightly bent, I think. And then one here. Voila! So if you're painted your first flower, congratulations. Now we can look at it and see if we want to do any modifications or things like this that we like, we don't like, etc. Okay, for me, I think this petal is too big, okay, compared to the rest. So what I will do is probably I will redo it, or I will either make this one take more space here. And this one maybe take more space here. I'm just tracing some lines to make my petals thicker. And now probably what I can do is I can, okay, you see what happened, like this petal doesn't make sense. It breaks the whole structure we made. So we want to make it bigger. So we want to go until here almost. But yeah, it's a huge petal, that's fine. I mean, some petals are more huge than others. And what I see that is missing, not missing, but really not correct, let's say, when we see the photo is that this is too wide compared to the photo. So this means that this petal, I need to start it more from there. And then I'm reducing, you see, I'm reducing the size of this petal here. Okay, this petal looks like weird, like the shape, but I see this kind of shape. I mean, this is real life. They are not all exact and perfect and anything. Do you see any other weird petal? I think, yeah, I see this one is too big. And by too big, I mean this goes like this, but it should end here, like lower. And then, why we can see this other one around. Okay, more or less. I'm happy with how it looks like now. So don't be afraid of making your lines stronger if you want. What do you think? You have any comments, anything you want to tell me? So I see that on my painting, I did the flower, instead of tilted this way, I made it tilted this way, like this, a bit more than in the photo, but that's fine. As long as the center and the petals, they all make sense and go together, that's it. And what is important is that your top of your petals should go to the center directly. So if one of your petals doesn't go directly to the center, then we need to change its shape. Okay, cool. So now that we have our petal flower, I'm so happy. I will take one of my, this one maybe, would be nice. I don't know if I want to draw it again. Um, so now we need to redraw it here. And as I told you, if you want, you can trace it on the, like, you put this paper on a window and you put your paper on top and then you trace it. Or with a light board, there are these boards, that light up and then you can see what is behind and you can trace it. It doesn't work very well with thick watercolor paper as the one I'm using, but that's fine. I will, anyway, for the sake of the live session, I will redraw it, okay? Because the more I practice, the better, honestly, and then I don't mind drawing it again. And if we want to make any kind of corrections, this is the time to do so. So I don't think I will do corrections. Right now, I think I will stop looking at my flower on the photo. I will look at my drawing, okay? So the first thing we did, if you remember, was the circle. So kind of an ellipse. And then your center. This one might be a bit too light for you, but because this is watercolor paper, I need to make light drawing. So don't look at it, just focus on your drawing. You don't need to look at me. Of course, if there are any questions, please let me know. I didn't see anything in the chat. So as long as I don't see anything, I don't stop. I just keep going, but feel free to ask anything you need. Okay, so I have more or less my flower again. Now, if you finished, make sure you erase the unwanted lines. For example, I will erase the circle lines because I don't want them to be seen later. And all the lines I've made that I don't want anymore, just erase them, because watercolors are so light that maybe some of the lines will be seen under your watercolors. So just make sure to erase the lines you don't want. I forget to do this so many times. Really, that's fine. I mean, that's the beauty of it as well. I think that what's the difference between a human doing it and a machine? You know, sometimes there are those things like you forget to erase the lines, and that's fine. It's a very nice drawing anyway, or painting. So what? Okay, this one again, I had the same problem. So refine your flower, really. Remember more or less where the ellipse goes. Refine your flower. I like this better. This petal, I think, has a weird shape and I really like it. I really like that it's a bit pointy in some ways. So I'm trying to exaggerate that side as well. Yeah. Okay, cool. Then this is our flower. If you want to make it bigger, make it bigger. If you want to make it smaller, that's fine as well. Now we will start with the watercolors. And let's make this a bit zoom in, I think, so you can see better what I'm doing. Let me see if I can do it here on the software directly. I mean, I don't know how to do this without bothering. And automatically, I don't know yet how to do it. What if I okay. I think this way you can see it better. It's putting everything here. So you see the water, you see the palette, which has a flower shape. You can see the palette here. And yeah, let's use different colors. I have my palette so dirty from painting other things, but that's okay. We will reuse some colors here. If I say I don't have any space, I will clean up some space. Make sure you do the same in yours. We don't want muddy colors today. Okay. So my brushes, I forgot to take out my brushes. Speaking of, I didn't forget. That means they are here. I didn't see them, but they are here. Okay. So let's take your medium and small brush, favorite ones. Yes. And now what we will do first is we will, this is what I like to do. I like to wet the whole surroundings and then add wet and wet different colors. Okay, we will not be painting all the things you see there in the photo. We will not be painting the all the flowers. So let me maybe, I don't want to make it smaller, but I want to, oops, I'm sorry, guys. It's not that I want to make it smaller, but I want to really make sure. Okay, doesn't matter, but what we want to do is to make the other shapes that are around blurry, okay? Because we are focusing on our painting here, we are focusing on our flower, and the rest is blurry. It's similar to what I've done here in the other paintings. I will show you. You see, here I see that there may be some other magnolias around, but they are very blurry. And the only really detailed things we have are on our flower. The same here. This is very detailed, this is very detailed, this is less detailed, you know, and all the different leaves and things, grasses that are around are really like very blurry. So this is what we will be doing here. I will give you as an advice that you leave some white spaces, okay? Sometimes we fill all the space we have, we fill it too much, and then we don't leave space to breathe. So I'm cleaning my brush because it was a bit dirty with cream. I mean, it's fine because we'll paint many things green, but so make sure to not go over the lines of our flower. And because it's a big surface to cover, what I recommend you is that you just wet one of the, you just wet one section and then you drop color. For example, I think this section is big enough to start already with some colors. So I already had some colors here, but yeah, feel free to take some greens, feel free to take some browns, and you can also go like next to the petals to put some darker colors because we want the petals to pop, okay? And if we want the petals to pop, that means we need to have contrast between the color we put in the petal and the color that is next to it. You can also make some quick purple. I'm doing it here with a bit of the pink I have here and some blue. And then suggest that there are more purple flowers around maybe. But yeah, as I told you, also leave some white space as well. I think it looks better when we leave some white space around. Make sure you put different greens, different colors. So I see I made a mistake here and I went over my petal. Okay, what we can do here is we will put some water. Like we dab our brush and we put some water over the petal and where the part with the color is. And now we take a napkin. I don't have it, I have one here. We take a napkin, some paper, some toilet paper, and then we dab the color. You see, and I managed to remove the color that was on top of the petal. And now we can go again with some color, but now really respecting the petal shape. Okay, and if you see it's too dry now, the lines are too harsh, you can add water to it. Okay, so I will also add a kind of bone color. I don't know how to call this color, but like beige, some like white beige tone around, so it doesn't look that white. But you see, we continue doing this all around the petals, all around the flower. When we add water, we just wet the paper. We just wet the paper, as you can see. And it's inevitable sometimes to go over a petal, that's why, I mean, oops. You see my bottle, the bottle I'm using is not clean enough. And then I'm putting some pigment on the paper. And it's not on purpose. You can also wet this part, by the way. If you see any dark edges, not dark, but hard edges, you can go run over them with water. And we keep adding the same colors we added on the other side. Okay, green, put some touches of red, maybe. I see some red in the background, like some red flowers around. Put some purple as well. Doesn't matter really the colors you put. The only important thing is that your colors are more or less the same all around the circle, okay? So I'm adding darker green. I'm adding lighter green, etc. And the important thing is that the flower is well surrounded by color, because like that will pop a lot. Painting flowers is so beautiful and therapeutic. I don't know what you think about it, but I really like it. Make sure to add a touch of red to your greens. I learned from Sarah Barnes. I don't know if you know her, probably you do, because she's quite famous on Instagram, not on YouTube. That if you add a touch of red to your greens, you make your greens more natural. And that's true. Like green, sorry, is one of the most difficult colors to use in watercolors. At least that's what the lady that started teaching me watercolors told me. And honestly, it discouraged me a lot. But I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm just saying that it's a complex color, okay? Because it's complex that you can make the color natural, look natural, let's say, compared to the world. That doesn't mean it's impossible. I think it's just you need to be careful and you need to take this into account when you paint. That's all right. So here you see I had dark edges, so very thick edges. So I'm just around and just adding some water. And here, this is still wet. I can still add a few touches maybe of red here and there, like if they were flowers. And maybe a purple one. That's okay. I don't want to add too many distracting elements. Here I see it's a bit sad. By sad, I mean there's too much white. I'm adding a few more of color there. Okay, so if you've done this step as I showed you, you should have this blurry image around. And now we need to wait until it dries, okay? I see, I don't know if my paper is not good or something is happening to my brush, but I see I'm like lifting some of the paper. See? I don't know if I told you already, but watercolor paper expires, so make sure to not buy too much and then find yourself with a lot of expired watercolor paper. It has happened to me, I think. Some of these papers might be expired. Doesn't mean that you cannot make beautiful paintings, you can, but the paper behaves so different, you know, from what you're used to. That is more challenging to use. So I'm just checking the edges are more or less fine. The edges of the petals. Okay, it's more or less dry already. there's only this part that is still wet. So let's wait for it to dry. What do you say? You see, there is any painting you want to paint later and you don't know how, or you would like some advice to it, let me know, please. I'm happy to send you some photos and some sketches. I don't know. Okay. Even if that part is a bit wet, doesn't matter. Can start here. So now I will be using this part. I was using this one because I have all these greens here, which are very useful for me. Now, you remember the clean water, dirty water thing? Okay, I'm so bad at it. We should be doing that, but I'm very bad at doing that, so that's fine. This is cleaner than this one. Okay, so now we are going to try to mix that lilac color. To mix that lilac color, take one of your blues. I will take a darker blue. Okay. And now you take some pink you have. I took a dark blue and this pink. I am mixing them. And you see I'm making a very dark color right now, which is great for the center of the flower, by the way. So I will be adding now a bit of neutral color you have. I have neutral tint, but if you have Payne's gray, that works very well as well. So we'll be using this for the center of the flower. We'll not be using it now, but we can take some of this color and bring it here, make it lighter and see if we like it. I mean, it's fine, but I don't know, our flower is more vibrant, so I will add a bit more pink. Because it's a light color, we completely need to make a very light mix. That means more water than pigment. You remember? So more water than pigment. That means I add more water, bit of pigment still. By the way, don't do what I'm doing. I mean, I have my painting here. Everything will drop. Don't do that. But I'm just making more quantity. Okay, and now how do I know if this is the color I want? So you pick another piece of paper if you have something around, or if you're using your sketchbook, you can do it on the side of the page, and then you paint and just wait a bit for it to dry to see if you like the color, if it's what you expected, if you like more pink, or if you like it more blue. I will try all of them. I love this tone. This one is awesome. So I don't know, I think it needs to be more vibrant. Okay, for more vibrant, what do we do? Do we use a different blue? I used a warm blue here. Let me use a cool blue. Okay. So I will show you also quickly. Where is my... Have some piece of paper here. It's here. Oops. You don't look, then something chaotic happens. Okay, so this is a cool blue. Means it has a more greenish tone. And no, this is sorry. This is a warm blue because it has more reddish tone, and this is a cool blue because it has more greenish tone. I hope you can see the difference. Maybe when it's wet, the difference is not that obvious, but I will show you. So, pink I only have one, so I can only use this pink one. But I will try my pink with my blues, different blues, and see which one is more vibrant and which one, yeah, looks better on the flower, let's say. This one is not bad. The one I just created is not bad. I think it's quite similar to what I want to achieve. You see, compared to the previous one we have done, this is more purple, like more blue. And I think it looks more like the photo. You can modify the colors, by the way, huh? You don't need to make them exactly the same as the photo. It's just that I like this kind of blue. I love the color the flower has. So if I can go closer to the real color, I'm happy. I love it. Now let's make another one. Let's make with the mix with this blue instead of this one, which is phthalo blue. It's more green, has a greenish tone to it. And now the only thing I have, I think, is magenta. Yeah, it's magenta. This is quite thick. Now we need to add water. Not bad neither, but I think I like the other version more. I'm just adding water to make it lighter. Let's see. That's also cool. It's also close to what we were looking for in the flower, but I love this one. This one, by the way, is ultramarine blue with magenta. Okay, if you have ultramarine blue and magenta, use that one because they look together awesome. So let's then use this color we've made here. I will make more. I will make more color. Okay, and now that I made all this color, what I see is I look at the photo. Okay, the photo. Let me open it a bit bigger. I recommend you do it the same. You open it a bit bigger on your computer. And then you can see that the petals have more pigment in the center. I will do it first, just wait. More color pigment in the center, okay, of the petal. I'm painting this one. And then you clean your brush and you go over that line with water. So the pigment moves around. And then you have less concentrated version of the blue, of the purple, sorry. You can add more if you want or make it more obvious, something like that. And I'm going to do the same in this petal. I'm painting the petals the same way we draw them. I'm going first to the ones on the front. Okay. And I make sure the lines I'm making are following the petal shape. Okay. Then I clean my brush and with some water, I go over the edges. Like this. And when it dries, you will be able to see it better, but you should see that here we have less pigment, so less color, and in the center we have a bit more. Do you see it? So I'm going to follow that for all the petals, but first the ones that are on the front and then the rest. Let's do it. I'm opening my flower in big again. If you see you're running out of pigment, you can prepare more. Ultramarine blue, clean, magenta. My mix has more blue than magenta, by the way. So it's a purple moving more towards blue than magenta. If I want to test the color I made, I can do it against this one I had before, I have done before. See if it's the same. Yeah, I think it's quite the same. So I can use it. Now this one. Don't worry because we will be adding later details to the petals. They look a bit lifeless now, not right now, but it's okay. I do think this paper is expired though. It's not normal that it absorbs color in this way. We will manage to fix it, but I think this paper may be expired. The problem when with expired paper is that you don't know if it's expired. You cannot notice it until you paint. And then when you see it doesn't behave the way it used to behave when you used it, that means it's probably expired. But yeah, what can you do at this point? You need to just paint and see. So I recommend you buy your papers when you are almost running out of paper. Or if you buy a lot, use it early and quick so you don't have this problem. I will make a thicker version, so with less water of this purple here. Because I realize I want to do something else. I want to make this more saturated in some petals. That means that while it's still wet, you can drop a darker color on top. You make it darker. So I'm just testing around. You don't need to do it if you don't want right now. Okay, now the petals in the back, they use the same technique, but they are darker because they are on the back. So if you see they have like white parts, don't worry, we can add those white parts later with color pencil or something like that. The important thing is that you use the petals that are on the back to make the other ones stand out. So that's why we're making them a bit darker. So they have the shadow of the petal that is on top, etc. This one is very, very dark. But it also makes sense because it's really at the back of the petal. So it's the petal that is you see? I can make this one quite dark as well. This one is quite dark because it's also very, very hidden. What I did here is I put more pigment at the bottom. Now at the top, I'm adding just water. So the color makes like a kind of gradient. You remember gradients from our last session? What do you think so far? I mean, all paintings have an ugly stage, and I want you to be aware of it because all paintings in watercolors, at some point you will look at them and say, what have I done? This is horrible, probably. Yeah? If you don't, I love it for you. But most of the people stop painting too early because they stop in the ugly stage, and that's sad. It's sad when you stop in the ugly stage because you think that's how it's going to look at the end, but it's not the truth. It will look much better, but you didn't have the patience to keep going. So I encourage you to keep going right now with me. And then that's one of the most important things you learn, I think, with the time when you continue painting with watercolors is that you can save your paintings from being ugly or from being in the ugly stage, really. You just need patience to keep going. And if you keep going and you don't like it, that's also okay. You can repaint it again. You can just leave it and you learn something about it. Maybe you learn something about not using colors too wet, or I don't know. But maybe you learn something about it. And I think that's worth uh, exploring. So as you can see, I'm now painting all the background petals more or less the same way. If you think you need a smaller brush, feel free to take it. By the way, and as you can see, I jump around just to the petals that are next to other petals that are already dry. You see? That's why I'm jumping around all the time. When you think you have prepared enough color mix to paint, then you realize you need to prepare still more. Oh my God. I will make this blue a bit, this purple sorry, a bit different just so there is some variety on the petals, even if they all are part of the same color, you see. They have harmony in terms of color, but still there are some differences. I love to use color pencils on top of my watercolors. I don't know if you have tried that already, but I love that. Just always try to control the amount of water you're using in your brush. I will paint already the center right away. Didn't do it before, but I feel we can already paint it. And on top, we will paint those dark parts that you can see. Okay, so we need to let this dry now. We'll make sure this color doesn't dry. I will add just a bit of water again, and I will add more pigment again. Well, I said I only have one pink, and that's not true. I have quinacridone red here as well. So I have magenta, which is a cool version of pink, and quinacridone, it's quite dirty here. It looks red, but it's quite pink. And it's called quinacridone red. So it's called red, but it's pink. I mean, who did that? I don't know. Maybe it's just because the pigment is named that way, that it's called red. But yeah, don't know. So let this dry now. If you have any questions, don't forget. If you have any concerns, if something weird is happening on your page, let me know. If you see me doing things here, it's just touching a bit some parts. It's quite cool, I think. I would like to use my hair dryer because we need to end the live session soon. Also, when your paper is expired, it doesn't dry as fast. So I will just help it just a little bit. I will come back. Okay, it was fast, but starting to be a bit dry. Let's try a bit more. Okay, so now it's dry. Okay, so now it's dry. Now what I will try to do is I will paint the center. I will take a very small brush. This one is a number 2. So take your smallest brush because I want to be very precise with the center of the flower. If you can still see yours, I hope so. I still see mine. Okay, not bad. And now we can do the little things that are around, okay? So you see there is a center and then the little things around. are like a kind of different color. And then what I thought is we can use still the same, but maybe more diluted. Let's try. Same color, but more diluted. It looks too dark, I think. What we can do is, okay, let's add more water to it, just a couple of drops. Just let's try to make it more diluted and less blue. I will add a touch of magenta as well. Yeah, I think this is better. But we can test all the time here on our paper, okay? And test. Because there will be like small things like this, like tuk, 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 tuk. I think this will be fine. So yeah. So now make sure to leave a very small circle around with nothing, and then you can add your little dots the same way I'm doing it here. So I'm adding little dots around. I'm also moving my brush a bit here and there, so it makes different kinds of marks. And as you can see, it's quite nice that I can move my paper around. So you can still move your sketchbook around. You don't need to be painting on a paper to move it around. Okay. So you can see I left like a space, like a circle, and I'm doing all this. And I will make more. And also I will make it look less controlled. You see, like it shouldn't be like a perfect circle or anything like this because it will look really unnatural. Okay, I think that's enough. I think that's enough. You see? Okay, now I see the petals are not divided up somewhere, etc. Now with this same color, what we can do is we can do the shape, like the shadow between some petals, okay? Because some petals are on top of others, if you remember. So I will go with this around, like make the line that separates those petals, and then with water, I will kind of dilute this line so it doesn't look that harsh. You see? And then, yeah, with water, you can make this line look less hard. Just going with a bit of water. So I will do the same for other petals. So we can make sure our petals are clearly separated. I mean, these ones are clearly separated. It was made mostly these ones that were not separated as much. This one as well was not enough, separated enough. Now, yes, now it is. If I need to make it darker, I would make it darker. I just make sure to come later with a bit of water to dilute the paint, the color a bit more. So it's just little retouches here and there. For example, I don't like how these two are separated, so I will make it more clear that they are separated petals. Just making it clear with a line and then some water to make this illumination kind of gradient. Okay, we should be finishing our live session. But I still want to do one thing more. Well, a couple of things. Just bear with me if you have still some minutes to be with me here. I will make more color, like not so diluted now. Okay, and now I will really go some petals And we have a very fine brush. This fine brush. I will add again lines. I will add some veins of this one you see is still wet, so I will be adding some veins. Remember that the veins need to go from the petal to the center, so make sure the petals have this line following and that go all to the center. Mainly the veins will follow the shape the petal has. So it's okay if some of them are not complete. They don't go just all the way up. But you see, it gives so much definition to the flower. So this one from the top to the center, but doing the same shape the petal already has, okay? You see, it's okay if some lines are not completely close. Let's say they are not complete lines. The lines can be darker in the petals that are on the back, more on the back. So the lines, what I mean is are the veins, you know what I mean. What do you think so far? I think it looks nice. I mean, this is not the best light to see the different colors, but I think it looks nice in real life at least. If you see it doesn't have enough color and that you can make it more vibrant and you want to make it more vibrant, we can glaze on top. We have seen already in our live stream session where we saw basic watercolor techniques, okay? So why don't we glaze? There's some of them. That means with a very thin amount of water, we can say, okay, this one I want more color. Then it glaze over the whole petal, which means we go with more color over the whole petal. Okay, if you want this glaze to be lighter, you can also do it. Here, for example, or for this petal, maybe. I don't see enough difference between those two petals, so I will place only half of the petal. This one I want to make it darker, etc. So I think it looks quite nice. Now, for me, what else do we need to do? Okay, what we need to do is we need to make like a little stem there because the petal comes from somewhere. Okay, so I'm preparing a mix of brown and green. This kind of color. because stems are usually this color. And then wherever you want to place your petal, your flower, sorry, you can just do something like this. Let's make sure that, yes, okay, like this. And now what I will add, because I see it has a bit of leaves around. So let's add some leaves around. I'm just adding a bit of the pink we use for the flower, for the pink, for the green, so it makes it more natural color. Okay. You can decide to leave it as it is. You don't need to do this, but I think that's cool to add this as well. Okay. And then the last thing I will do is, because I like it and because I love to add a few pencil details, is I will go with pencil now. But you don't need to do that. And definitely, if you don't have pencils, that's fine too. You don't need them to really go to the pictures that I love to go over with some pencils. And sometimes it helps us bring back some white color or clean color that we lost. And that's completely normal. For example, with this white, I can bring here more white to this petal, or this one, or even with this purple color, I can make a few lines different color of the ones that I already did before with watercolors, you see? Like there are many ways to use watercolors. I can also, well, this is still wet, but I could also add a few brush strokes here, like with pencil, that makes the green lighter, you see? I mean, you can do many things now here. I need it to be super, super dry for this, by the way. So, for example, if you want to differentiate more in the difference between these two petals, see, or between these, this one, you can do this. You can add a few details. I mean, you don't need to. You can. And I think it makes the watercolor a bit more complete. And all the things we are doing right now, you could do it with watercolor as well. Okay, it's just that I like to add this dry media on top sometimes because I think it's useful. I'm looking for a very small purple color I had of like lilac. Maybe I lost it. I don't find it right now. But yeah, if I find it later, I will add a few more lilac strokes. Because the ones I see here are too pink, I would say. But it's nice to have like some strokes of pink and some strokes of lilac, by the way. So, I mean, variety is always a good thing when you paint because it's more interesting. You see, if you make all the shapes the same way or all the lines the same way, it's not as interesting. But yeah, here it is. I will then add more darker here, as well as I did add lighter. I can also add some white gel pen lines on the flower because I know they have some. I need to shape this first. I can make some white paints on the flower petals. Why not? I mean, you can also overwork it, so don't make too many things on top. It's also completely possible to overwork a painting, and that happens to me quite often because I keep adding things. But I don't know, that's what makes it interesting for me. So it's up to you. Depends on what you like, the things you like, and yeah, it's very personal. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so for me, it's finished. What do you think? I think it looks prettier in real life, honestly, than it does on camera. So I will make sure to make a photo so you can see the reality behind the camera. I'm also seeing that this petal is not as differentiated. What about now? Yeah, now it's better. So I think it's prettier in real life than in the camera, but yeah, it looks nice. I think it was a good exercise, and I hope you learned a lot and enjoyed a lot. If you need anything, don't hesitate to write me, okay? Don't hesitate to let me know if you need any help or if you are painting a different flower later. Tell me as well if you need any support. I'm happy to do it. And I know I can't stop doing it, but I will stop now. I hope you had a great week that starts and that you paint and make photos of beautiful flowers. So thank you very much for joining and see you in the next one. Bye.